Hello everybody, this is ManuS and welcome to another Eternal Contenders here on EternalTitans.com. Today I wanna talk to you guys about Kennadins. Deck has been around for a while, isn't very popular lately because the deck was lacking some tools, some elements. Not quite sure what it was, but I would say the new campaign definitely gave it a sweet new tool that might help make it a bit more competitive. And since I'm sure you guys are interested in seeing some of the new cards, I figured it's time to revisit Kennadins with the new cards. So let's take a look. Alright, so this is my current list. Let's go over the details. So first of all, the units are for Grenadin drone. Not much explanation needed. Part of the heart of the deck with Combustion Cell and the Granite stuff going on to make sure we get tribute. Jotun Merchant, additional Combustion Cells, and a bunch of utility like Boar to deal with problematic relics sometimes, and a counter to fight stuff like Hurler, Channel the Tempest, that sort of stuff, or in the mirror, End of Hostilities, and so on. A Jawbone Greatsword, which is a nice answer to bigger Aegis units like Jotun Feastcaller or Icaria, and also a very nice card against control. And a Molot and Narkova as like sort of a over-the-top kind of card. I considered Gear Cruncher here, but Molot and Narkova is just a bit more impactful and a little less conditional, since even as an 8 Aegis flyer they are pretty good, while Gear Cruncher is only good if you have enough Grenadins in your void already. If not, the card's very embarrassing. So I decided to play Molot and Narkova, also because if Molot and Narkova stick for one turn, the next turn you can just copy them with End of Hostilities, and that usually seals the deal. And having access to one is pretty nice, especially without having to draw into them early on due to having them in the market. Then we have the new kid on the block, the new tool, Poaching Drake. I think the card fits the deck really well. It helps the deck a bit more to present a robust board, and it helps a lot against flyers. For example, you can drop this and transform a, say, Valkyrie Enforcer and then also block another flyer. It's also a flying attacker of its own, making the deck generally a bit more proactive and a bit more robust, and seems like a great addition both on the utility side as well as on the offense-defense side. Then we have 3 Jotun Hurler. They're mainly here because they're like 2 cards in one for Merchant and Strategize. And if push comes to shove, they are also a decent body, especially against control, where you just want something to pressure them with. And the Snowball does a lot of things. It deals with any units like Trailmaker, Initiative Descents, Oni Ronin, and so on and so forth. It pops Aegis. It does a lot of utility. I tried and considered Unstable Form at first, but Form just isn't that great. Like, if you really want the Form, I can see playing one Form over the 3rd Hurler, but if you think about it, Hurler is just almost always better than Unstable Form in the end. So I just went with 3 Hurler for basically the last 3 slots that I had left in the deck, and you kinda need something to deal with Aegis, especially so you can like End of Hostilities and opposing Icaria and stuff like that, or Feastcaller and that sort of stuff. And yeah, then of course we have 4 Kenna, Shaman of the Scale, sort of the namesake of the deck and the big payoff together with End of Hostilities. Rebuying your powerful spells like End of Hostilities and card draw. Yeah, just a really strong unit. Often potentially a 3 for 1 if you got a way to set up tribute. Really powerful card and the end game of the deck. Then we have for Permafrost, the go-to Primal removal. The card is not ideal, it has its issues, but it's very efficient at what it does, and also Primal has no better options. Then we have 3 Combustion Cell with the Force in the market, to make sure we always have it to ramp into our attributed Kenna and End of Hostilities. For Torch, basically the fire go-to removal, where Permafrost is the primal go-to removal, also very efficient. Nice way to make Kenna bigger later, or just rebuy it with Kenna to kill 2 things in 1 turn if you have an extra power, that sort of stuff. Then we have some card draw in Strategize and Wisdom. Wisdom is our actual card draw, this is more like card filtering, but thanks to Hurler and some situational cards or additional combustion cells, this generates a lot of value. Then we have 4 assembly line to make sure we have enough Grenadins alongside Grenadin Drone and Granite Waystone. I decided to not run anything like Sparkcatcher. I don't think the card's very good and also not very needed. For the few combustion cell activations you usually need, you can just use the Drone, the Waystone and the line and play more real and impactful cards like Poaching Drake. And yeah, Wisdom I already mentioned, and End of Hostilities, the actually bigger powerhouse in the deck if you ask me than Kenna, since in a lot of situations just double copying a big powerful threat from the opponent is just super backbreaking, and such a big tempo swing for 6 power, getting like 2 6-drops for 6 and stuff like that. Card is incredibly powerful and incredibly swingy, as long as the opponent plays good units. Then we have 29 power. I do not run any Seek power. It kind of hurts our seeds, because we basically would have to cut some sigils. I rather run like 8 Waystones. Although 8 Waystones might even be slightly much. I could see shaving 1 Cobalt Waystone for another sigil. In the end, the Waystone is still pretty nice with the combustion cells and against discard, so having them is pretty good. And yeah, most lists I saw run like 28 power, which I think is just very greedy. The deck has Strategize and Merchant when you flood it, and when you screw the deck just completely falls apart. You really can't afford to fall behind and miss power drops early on. You want your first like 5 power by turn 5, and 29 power is like the bare minimum to have that reasonably likely, especially when you have so much value in a power base between 8 Waystones and the Crests. So I really like this configuration, leaning heavier towards Primal because Kenna costs triple Primal and Poaching Drake double Primal, while the deck basically has no double fire. It only needs additional fire for Waystone and market cards. But you still need fire earlier, slightly earlier than Primal for turn 1 Grenadin Drone, turn 2 Combustion Cell, and you want to get those Waystones active eventually. So that's the power base. And yeah, that's the deck list. There's not really many other options to run in the deck. I don't want to run like additional clunky expensive cards like Molot and Akova and stuff, because we already have 4 7-drops and 4 6-drops, and I think this should be enough, especially when we have the Molot and Akova in the market and the Greatsword that we can tribute out another fatty with. I kind of like more Greatsword in the main theoretically, because they're really good against control, which can be a bit problematic, but I don't really see how to fit it. Like, I could see maybe shaving the 3rd Hurler for 1 Greatsword or something, but that's like kind of a marginal change really. So yeah, I quite like this list. It's pretty smooth, pretty straightforward and consistent, and should give the deck a bit more help in some of those situations where you fall behind and struggle, thanks to Poaching Drake. Yeah, I really like Poaching Drake. It's one of my favorite cards from the new campaign. It does so much. It's so good against cards like Aurelian Merchant and all that stuff. It's really good against all the good 3-drops and Combray aggro and so on and so forth. The card just does a lot of things. And yeah, that's it for the deck list. As usual, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe down below and turn on notification icon to not miss out on future content, and consider whitelisting eternaltitans.com and YouTube to help support the content. Alright, as usual, gonna hop into some games, so see you in a moment with game number 1.